Hello and welcome back to the SuperCoach Corner podcast for another one of our team previews where we look at Carlton today, third iteration of this one. And as always, joined alongside me is Darcy. Darcy, how do you feel about Carlton going into this year, and do you see any real SuperCoach relevance here?
There's a couple of Supercoach guys, a couple of guys that I'll be excited to talk about. Probably two or three, or one big guy, who I think we'll probably start with or get to that every team will start with or should start with. But there's a couple sort of mid prices or fallen premiums that I'd like to talk about and who are on a few people's radars this year. But yeah, who knows how Carlton are going to go? They've sort of been up and down over the last couple of years. It's hard to see them push up much higher than where they finished last year. I don't see much improvement out of them with Charlie Curnow leaving. But there's a couple of guys joining the squad that we'll talk about. I'm ready and keen to get stuck into it.
Yeah, let's go. Probably the first thing we should note is that they have the round 2 bye. So if you are picking a premium, you're picking with caution here. They're not going to have a price rise until round 3, and you're going to lose them for a week. So that's going to not bode too well for your side in round 2. But then they also have the round 14 bye, which I don't think is too bad. Let me just get it up. Yeah, it's not great. Collingwood, Freo, and Hawthorn. Hawthorn don't have too many relevant players, but the other two definitely do. I don't hate the round 14 bye, but yeah, round 2 is not something we like. Let's get stuck into the rookies, and we'll start in the defence. It's probably only one guy that a few people are talking about, and it's Harry Dean at 195k. Is he someone on your radar to start your season at all?
Not really, mate. I'm a bit shocked today. I saw he's in 12% of sides. I think there's a few options down back in terms of rookies and a bit of value there. And 195k for an 18-year-old key defender. I know he's a big talent, and it's someone that Carlton's can sort of hold their hopes on for the next 5, 10, 15 years, hopefully, if all things go according to plan. But from a Supercoach perspective, I'm just not picking a lightly framed 18-year-old key defender at that price. If he was 120k and you knew he was playing every game, I'd be tempted to start him. But it's very expensive for a guy who's never played a game of AFL footy.
Yeah, I think where it's come from is a lot of people are predicting him to start in Carlton's side.
We'll take him. We'll take him.
In Carlton's side for the year. And if he is starting and on field as well, that probably shows some good job security. Would that then change your mind?
Not really. No. Again, as an 18-year-old key defender, the best case scenario, you're getting 300k, 350, like you're getting 100k out of him, maybe pushing 150 at best case, I think. And you're getting some low scores. And I'm not paying 100. I don't want to pay 195k for that. So he's 40k cheaper than Kitty Coleman, who is just a separate league to him. So yeah, not someone that I'll be looking at.
Yeah, and there's definitely in defence, like you can pick up Josh Gibson, who's had it's his 4th year, going into his 4th or 5th year. I know he's had body issues, but should play very similar role, if not a better role. Then you got a lot of cheaper running halfbacks, like Sam Grill, Cooper Simpson, whoever you can pick. So there's probably too many options down there to be looking at Harry Dean. Let's move into the midfield, and someone that should be almost a walk-up start guarantee, hasn't even played a game, but should be started on field for every Supercoach side, is Jagger Smith. Do you feel the exact same as I do? He is so easy to lock away in that midfield.
Yeah. There's not really much conversation here. He's in 76% of teams for a reason. He is just a lock, and touch wood, he keeps his body right. He's had a full year in the AFL system, albeit with a torn ACL, but he knows professional standards now. He's putting some muscle on. I expect a big year from him, and Carlton expect a big year from him. I think if you ask Carlton fans, they would have won the flag last year if he was fit. So expect him to come in and make a big impact. So yeah, I think every team will be starting him. What about Tyson? In terms of other midfielder rookies, any of the Camperale twins interest you at all? Lucas played a few games last year, looked good early, but struggled to get its way back in the side. He's at 177k, or his twin Ben didn't make his debut last year, but he's 119k. Either of those interest you at all?
If Ben's going to get games, he was more highly touted than Lucas to start the year last year. If Ben's getting games, I'll believe that, and I'll probably end up looking at him. I did start Lucas, and he did hurt me because he only played 2 games and then didn't get a price rise until the back end of last year. So that did hurt. That's not going to happen with Jagger Smith. Just to go back and Jagger Smith, the number 3 pick, he's just going to dominate. Easy pick. But yeah, I'm probably not looking at the Camperale twins too much at the moment. Are you looking at either of them?
Nah. Well, if they're playing, like, he could be one of those. I feel like every year there's always a guy that comes in, like a midfield rookie that comes into your side last minute who gets picked for round 1, and you just slot him in because you just want a green dot on your field. He could be one of those guys. If Ben's playing round 1 against Richmond on Thursday night, then yeah, potentially. But yeah, I'd want to see a lot more and know that he's getting a consistent game. In terms of other rookies, Tice, probably the other big one that we should touch on is Liam Breedy making the move across from Freo to Carlton in hopes of that number 1 rock role. He'll be fighting it off with Pitnet. I think he showed some good signs at Freo, but just obviously couldn't get in ahead of Luke Jackson and Sean Darcy. He's 119k rock forward. I expect him to have a really good crack at that number 1 rough role, or maybe even share it with Pitnet. And at that price, with that DPP, I think he's just got to be a lock in everyone's sides.
Yeah, a lot of people like to start with a 99k rookie on their R3. If he is playing and sharing the ruck / playing as a key forward, doesn't matter. 119k on your bench as DPP. You never know when you're going to need him. Like, he's just going to generate cash. Pitnet could go down. He then plays number 1 ruck. He could even still play number 1 ruck ahead of Pitnet. I think it's just easy to lock him away on your R3. I wouldn't be playing him on field unless you know for sure he is playing R1 and Pitnet is nowhere to be seen. It was the same with TDK last year. We couldn't guarantee that. And yeah, it definitely changed. So yeah, I don't know. Would you play Liam Reedy on field?
Nah, I wouldn't be balls enough to go on R2 for him. But if you're that keen on it, I wouldn't mind the flex call. He's got the good DPP. You could flirt with that 99k rookie on your bench and sort of use Liam Reedy as the flex potentially, or even in your forward line. But no, I don't like the call of him at R2, especially with the battle with Pitnet that will be this year. So, but I think he's a lock in everyone's sides, especially as long as he's playing early on. Everyone should be picking him. But I think that sort of rounds out the rookies for Carlton. But definitely a team to keep an eye on. They might have a couple bolters coming into round 1. In terms of mid prices, Tice, in the defense, there's not really anyone. I don't know. Nick Newman's at 439k. It depends where you want to classify him, but is there any interest for you? I know you talked to me about Nick Newman a little bit. Is that someone he had a huge Supercoach year a couple of years ago, and then I think did his ACL or his Achilles? I can't even remember what the injury was, but was out for the whole of last year. Are you interested at all in him?
Yeah, I'm very interested in Nick Newman actually. Yeah, he averaged 101 in 2024. Was pulling out some big monster scores too, with a couple of 140s, 150s and stuff. So we know that he can do it for Carlton. And yeah, even the year before he was averaging 100. So he can perform, and at 439k, it looks like it's a very good buy. He's done it. Adam Saab was there the whole time as well, so it's not like it was the injury front or role change or something. The only caveat I have to not picking him at the moment would be they've gone after another guy we're going to touch on probably now anyway, Ollie Florent. They picked him up over the trade period, and it's going to be just interesting to see what role Ollie Florent plays. If he's going to play down back, I'm less inclined to pick Newman. If Ollie Florent plays up on the wing, Nick Newman's almost snuck his way into my side. So just need to see a little bit more. We don't have enough out of the Carlton camp just yet. Are you interested in Nick Newman at all?
Yeah, honestly, you put it perfectly. I'm interested in, like, now that we've touched on Florent, I'm really interested in them both. Um, I like the idea of both of them. The role, like Nick Newman's role when he was playing back there in 2024 was perfect. It's exactly what you want as a super coach. Like, he just kick marks, take kick outs, gets chase ball. He doesn't blow you away with any of his skills or anything, but he's just super reliable, gets a heap of the footy and uses it. He doesn't like try anything spectacular with it. He just, kicks it sideways 40 meters and gets some points and takes a mark and, does what you need to do from your defender. So at that price, at 439k, I definitely love that. Like you said, could Ollie Florent impact that? If he's playing off halfback, it could impact Nick Newman, but for me, that just makes Ollie Florent even more appealing. So there's every chance one of those two guys starts in my side. Ollie Florent, 327k as a mid only. Likely, if he does play off halfback, we'll get that defensive DVP come round 6. As a really good buy as well. So, like you said, we haven't heard much out of the Carlton camp, and it's definitely one that I'm keen to keep an eye on.
If with Sard, they tried Lockie Cowan as well, Ollie Hollands down there. If all are fit and all are playing in the back line, Florence, Sard, and Newman, are you ballsy enough to start one of them, do you think?
Yeah, I think if Ollie Florence is playing halfback, I'm picking him.
Okay.
I like Ollie Florent as a defender. He was sort of thrown around a little bit for Sydney and played it on the wing, which he struggled with. But coming from behind the ball using his leg speed, and it's something that Carlton has sort of been crying out for. Sard has flirted with it at times and has shown lots of times that that's what he's capable of doing, but goes missing a lot in games. So I think they need that leg speed. They tried it with Ollie Holland last year, and he runs all day, but he's just not that breakaway. He doesn't break lines like someone like an Ollie Florent could. So yeah, if he's playing off halfback, I think it'll really improve Carlton as a whole, and I think it'll be good for SuperCoach. So yeah, he's one that I think I'd be pretty keen to start. In terms of other midfield mid-prices, Tice, I'll start with Campbell Chesser. Come across from West Coast, was a high draft pick. Any interest there?
Apparently, he's put on some size, but he hasn't really put out the scoring from what we've seen in games. So, I don't see it being too much of a difference from his West Coast role. So, probably a pass for me at this stage. Anything from you on Campbell Chesser?
Nah, nothing really. I think the same goes. Not a hugely tempting price either at 270k. Yeah, I think he'll probably play a wing, high half forward sort of role, which isn't that appealing. Cooper Lord's probably the other one in the midfield, 320k. Showed the back end of last year as that high CBA mid. He's got a high ceiling. Did a lot of tagging, I think, in the last month. Scored 106, 111, 121. And then was on 74, I believe, at halftime or just after halftime. Then got concussed against Port in round 23. So he did wonders for them as a tagger in the back half of last year. If it's something that they're willing to persist with, it's a really left field option, and I wouldn't be starting with him in Classic, but it's one to keep an eye on. Because look, he showed Supercoach wise he can score, like 8-12 tackles in those games. So yeah, one that a few people have kept their eyes on, but it's probably, in terms of the midfield ties, anything to say about Cooper Lord?
Yeah, well, like, hit the nail on the head, but like with how he finished last year, coming into his third year now, though, is probably when you're really going to see that development. And he's already put out the few 100+ scores that we saw. I hope he dominates just because I picked him up in a keepers league in the last pick of the draft. So, look, I'm going to be rooting for him. I don't think I'm going to pick him up in Classic, but shout out to the keeper league boys. So,
Yes.
yeah,
I do love I love Cooper Lord, so I will be keeping an eye on him for sure. A couple of mid prices ties. Mark Pitnet at just over 400k. Any interest there?
Nah, not going to go there, especially with Liam Reedy around.
Yeah, fair enough. What about Will Hayward coming across from Sydney? Part of that deal, Charlie Curnow. I think it was technically separate in the end, but yeah. Do you think he could change his output moving across? He's at 370k, or is that medium-sized forward? It's probably not very Supercoach relevant.
Yeah, I think you hit that nail on the head. And look, depends how you see Sydney versus Carlton in terms of how they go. I think it's a backwards step, and he's probably going to play the exact same role in terms of supply he's going to get. So it's probably an easy pass for Will Hayward. But yeah, that's probably it on the mid prices. Let's move over to the premiums. There's not too many that we're going to look at. I mean, we touched on NEWMAN, so we'll go past the defense and get into the midfield where you've got the quartet for Carlton. The main four that they run through that midfield in Walsh, Cripps, George Hewitt, and Adam Chera. Adam Chera did bits for me last year. Would you be tempted to go any of them at all?
Adam Chera and Nara at 530k. I think the ceiling, even at his best last year, the ceiling just wasn't there. Very consistent scorer, but with the body issues paired with the low ceiling, it's not something that I want to touch. George Hewitt's over 600k after his incredible year last year. It's just too much to pay for George Hewitt. Again, we said it all throughout last year. Like, give him his flowers. He's had an incredible year and he's putting together a really good career for himself. But yeah, you can't pick him for that much. Cripps and Walsh are somewhat interesting. Cripps pretty cheap at 520k. Can he get back to Brownlow form? If he does, then it's a bargain. And then Walsh at 540. Okay, I know you're interested in him. A lot of footage has come out over the last week or so of him really training the house down. Could he come back to that 2023 finals form that we saw? And we thought he was going to like really run away with it and start to dominate the league. Had his body issues over the last couple of years. He looks fit. 540k. I feel like we've seen this story before, Ty. So you're interested?
I'm very interested. The footage that's come out, he hasn't dropped below averaging 100 apart from his first season in the AFL. His first season in the AFL, I think he averaged 85 from memory. I can probably pull it up. But since then, he's averaged 100 plus. Might not mean he's played every game because he's copped a fair few injuries, but it's hard to go past a guy that's averaging 100 plus. Like, whether you see Carlton going well or not might reflect how you want to pick Sam Walsh. But averaging 100 plus, I can't keep, like, I'm going to keep going back to it because he's been in the system for 6 years, 7 years now. Like, it's hard to pass up. And with the footage that's come out, he looks like he's dominating. He's currently in my side.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah. The only thing I'd say, like, you're not picking him to average 100 or 105 even. Like, at 545k, you're picking a keeper and you're picking a guy who's going to average 110 plus in the midfield is the way that I look at it. And you want to pick a guy who is going to compete with the rest of the guys. And he definitely can. That's why I like it, because he can do that. And if that's where you see him, that's good. He has shown a lot of consistency in years gone past. And like, if he's going to be scoring 100, 105, that's not what you want. But I think he can take his game to another level, and he will at some stage. Is this the year? I hope so.
Yeah, he in his third year alone, he averaged 117 across the whole year, and this is now his 7th or 8th year. And he played every game that year as well. It's not like he just had a few games that he, dominated. And the year after, he averaged 111 playing almost every game as well. So he can definitely be up there with the top. I see him going back up there as well. But it really depends where people see Carlton going this year as well. So if people see Carlton dropping off, then maybe it's not a good pick. But if they see Carlton pushing for finals, I see Sam Walsh as a very good pick.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it as well. I think he needs Carlton to perform, to really dominate. And yeah, exactly how you said it. If you think Carlton are going to play good footy and push that top 10, then yeah, I think he's a good shout. And at that, it is a really discounted price for it. If you think he's going to be in that top end of premium midfielders, it's a really good price. So I like it. Do you have anything to say about those other three guys that I made a comment on? Hewitt, Chera, and Cripps?
Yeah, well, you pretty much hit the nail on the head with all of them. I think Cripps is too inconsistent. You're just going to get that random game where he drops a 50 or 60. And yeah, the other guys might dominate. Well, Hewitt's very consistent, but he's too expensive to start. Maybe if he drops down to that 500k, it's probably something to take into the year. Like the fact everyone missed him last year because he dominated from the start. So yeah, Adam Chera, I'm not going again. He was so juicy to start when he was in the 400Ks as a main midfielder. So yeah, it's probably a no for the rest of them. But yes, for Sam Walsh. But the other thing to consider is that they do have the round 2 bye. They play opening round, so you can see them for 2 games. I might actually lean to watching Sam Walsh for the first 2 games, see how he starts, how Carlton look like they're going to go before I target him maybe for round 3, because then they've got Melbourne, North Melbourne. Then it gets into a tougher run. But yeah, how do you think the same?
Yeah, I think it's a common theme throughout these guys with the early buys that if you're not sure, you may as well wait. I think if you've got an early buy like that, you want someone who you're 100% convinced on and someone that's not going to bite you in the ass if you get it wrong. If they've got an early buy, you don't want to be taking a huge pod there. So not that I don't think Sam Walsh will be a huge pod. He's already up at 9% owned, and I think that'll just continue to rise. But yeah, want to keep an eye on. That sort of rounds out the players, Tice. There was one more that I wanted to bring on that we missed in the mid-prices that I was meaning to bring up. Zach Williams, just a quick one, is training and playing off halfback in their match sim. It's just a really interesting one. At 370k forward, has averaged 94 and 102 in off halfback for the Giants. Hasn't done it to that caliber since coming across to Carlton, but we know how good he has been. He's had a lot of soft tissue injuries, but if he can solidify that spot. We spoke about Ollie Florent going back there. If he can be that guy coming off halfback using that run and dash that we know he's done before in the forward line, it could be a huge one. But yeah, again, just wanted to keep an eye on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, can't disagree with that. Yeah, being forward eligible. There's not heaps of options down there, but there's enough. So he probably doesn't get in ahead of anyone else at this stage. But unless we see that run and dash, like you said. But yeah, they've got Ollie Florent, Nick Newman coming back. Just have to wait and see how he fits in there. What's your prediction for how Carlton go this year? That's probably a big thing for Sam Walsh.
Yeah, I can't see much improvement. I'm thinking 8 to 12, 10 to 12 sort of range. I don't see them finishing top 8, and they might sneak themselves into a wild card round, but Charlie Curno's a huge out, is the way I said it. So, yeah, I can't say much. From the Blues, What do you think?
I'm the exact same. I think you nailed where they're going to be. They'll be around that 8 to 12 range. Yeah, they might sneak a wild card game in, but yeah, that's all I see as well. So that probably wraps up Carlton. Thanks for having me, Das, and we'll catch up with your boys next.
Can't wait, man. There will be no bias involved. No bias.
Beg to differ. We will see, though.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, mate.